Every day, the future gets smarter, and today, the future learned to drive 60 cars, 3 years, 30 cities. They didn't just build a self-driving AI, they sent it to driving school, and what came out is the largest open-source self-driving dataset the world has ever seen. But how do you actually teach a machine to drive? Why German driving schools of all places, and could a free open dataset really beat the billions poured into self-driving giants like Waymo, 90 terabytes, over a million drives? Trust me, you're not ready for this one. This is June 25, 2026, and you are watching The Truth. Let's jump right in. Picture actually sending a car to driving school. Real lessons with an instructor with learner drivers behind the wheel for 3 straight years. That is exactly what Hugging Face and a German company called Yaak did. And the result might change self-driving forever. But here's the catch that changes the whole game. This dataset isn't locked inside some big tech company. It's open source, anyone, anywhere can download it and train their own self-driving car. To get why that's a big deal, rewind a second. For over a decade, self-driving was a closed club. Companies like Waymo spent billions of dollars driving millions of miles, and they locked every scrap of that data away. Tesla, Cruise, all of them played the same game. Whoever has the most data wins, so nobody shares anything. Then, in a post on the Hugging Face blog, the script flipped. They announced L2D, short for learning to drive, and they called it with zero hesitation the largest open source self-driving dataset in the world. And here's where the scale gets absurd. Before this, the biggest open driving dataset had around 1,000 drives. 1,000 L2D showed up with more than 1 million. Let that number sink in for a second. Think of it like this. Every open driving dataset that ever existed would fit in a single drop. And L2D is the whole ocean, but hold on, because before I show you the numbers, you need to understand how they pulled this off. So what exactly is L2D? At its core, it's a giant driving diary. Everything a car sees, senses and does, out on the road, captured in high fidelity, frame by frame, command by command. We're talking over 5,000 hours of driving, 90 terabytes of data, collected across 3 entire years. For perspective, 5,000 hours is like driving non-stop, day and night, for more than 6 months straight. Now, the hardware. Each car became a lab on wheels. 6 high-definition cameras covering a full 360 degrees around the vehicle. Plus GPS, motion sensors, and the car's own internal network reading the gas, the brake, and the steering. And all of it recorded 10 times a second, perfectly in sync. And it wasn't one car, it was 60 identical cars with the exact same sensor kit on every single one running across 30 German cities. That's the secret. When the sensors match, the data matches. No comparing apples to oranges. But here's the smartest part. The reason it's called driving school. To learn to drive, you don't just need a great teacher, you also need the mistakes of someone who's still learning. And L2D captured both sides. On one side, the learners, 10 to 50 hours behind the wheel, hesitating, making errors, correcting. On the other, the instructors, over 10,000 hours of experience, showing the smooth, safe, correct way. Both become pure gold for training. And all of this was recorded on the real streets of Germany, following the country's official driving curriculum, which means the same maneuvers a German student must master to get a license. The car learned too. And why driving school instead of just some highway? Because a learner runs into everything. Roundabouts, school zones, lane closures, construction, even a dead traffic light. Exactly the hard cases, the edge cases that decide whether a self-driving car is actually safe. And don't think the giants have this figured out just this month. Waymo recalled nearly 4,000 robot access after 13 incidents where its cars drove straight into freeway construction zones. Their second recall in barely a month. The exact edge cases L2D is built to capture. And each drive isn't just video. At every moment, L2D stores the 6 camera feeds, the GPS position, the steering commands, and even a plain text instruction describing what's happening. It's a complete package of context 10 times every second. Okay, but how does an AI actually learn to drive just by watching all of this? The idea is called imitation learning by copying. It's basically how we learn, watching our parents drive for years before we ever touch the wheel. And there are no handwritten rules from a programmer here. The camera images go in one end. The driving commands, steer, accelerate, brake, come out the other. And the neural network learns the path in between all by itself. That's what end-to-end means. Older cars did this in separate boxes, one to see, one to plan, one to control. End-to-end fuses it into a single network, simpler and often smarter. And this isn't just theory. It's the same family of models Les Robot already uses to control real robots, models with names like ACT, Diffusion Policy, and Pi 0. The difference is that now they're pointed at a car. Under the hood, it's a deep neural network. It doesn't memorize specific streets. It learns patterns. What to do when a pedestrian steps out, when the light turns red, when the lane disappears in the rain. And funnily enough, just a handful of neurons end up doing the heaviest lifting. And the person leading this is no random hire. The Le Robot team at Hugging Face is run by Remy Caden, who previously worked on Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robot. He posted L2D himself, calling it the biggest self-driving dataset by far, top-tier talent, now opening it all up to the world. And now it gets really clever. Remember that text instruction on every drive. Because of it, you can teach the car to drive by command. You say, turn left at the next light, and the model learns to obey. Underneath, the model connects each word of your command to the right action on the wheel. When you say turn left at the light, it weighs every word to decide what to do in the next instant. Same magic as the big language models, except it's driving. And there's a second mode. Every route is tied to the open map, OpenStreetMap with the next waypoints already marked. So you can also train the car to drive by waypoints. Basically, follow this path on the map on your own, and every drive is tagged with the weather, the lighting, the road type, and how many lanes, all the context that helps the model understand where it is. Now, the proof I promised, biggest in the world, is easy to say. So look at the actual numbers. These were the largest open driving datasets that existed, from Waymo, from New Scenes, from Comma, and then compare them to L2D. Look at the size of that jump. The biggest open record before was around 1,000 drives. L2D has more than 1 million. That's not a little bigger. It's roughly 1,000 times bigger than anything that existed before in open source. Let me ask you something and drop it in the comments. I really want to see this. Would you trust an open source AI driving your car? Type open if you would, or Claude if you'd still rather leave it to the giants. Go on, comment. So why all the noise over data? Because of one simple principle. The more quality examples a model sees, the better it gets. It happened with text, it happened with images, and L2D is betting it plays out exactly the same way with driving. And the best part, it didn't drop all at once. They released it in waves, starting with 100 drives, then 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, all the way past 1 million, every wave open free for anyone to download and train on. And you don't need a supercomputer to use it. They built tools to stream the data in piece by piece and a visualizer to explore every single drive. The barrier to entry, which used to be sky high, just collapsed. And this doesn't stop at cars. The same foundation that teaches a car to drive teaches a robot to see, to grab objects, to move and act in the real world. It's what they call spatial intelligence, except now it's open to everyone. The creators themselves call this a possible ImageNet moment. ImageNet was the open image dataset that, once it was in everyone's hands, unlocked the entire deep learning revolution. The bet is that L2D does the same thing for driving. But hold on, and this is the honest caveat every serious video needs: a massive dataset, no matter how huge, is not a finished self-driving car. Real closed-loop road testing is still early, and always with a safety driver on board. Getting the car to actually drive itself on a real track is the next big test, and it'll take time to earn trust. But to sum up what just happened here, they took 60 driving school cars, 3 years of real lessons on German streets, and turned it all into an open dataset roughly 1,000 times bigger than anything before it. And if this works, self-driving stops being a $1 trillion secret held by a handful of companies. It becomes something any researcher, any startup, any curious student can pick up and build on. That's the real revolution here. So here's the question that'll decide the next few years. Can open source finally catch Waymo and the closed giants? For the first time with L2D, that fight just got fair, and I really want to see where it goes. And that wraps our deep dive into L2D. Tell me what you think in the comments, drop a like, subscribe, and grab our newsletter from the link below, because every day the future gets smarter. Make sure you're smarter too. This has been The Truth.